the step. The stapler pins are missing. So the stapler pins would be put in use in such a very innovative way. And she got a patent for this. And she applied, she is the winner of the National Innovation Foundation Award for Ignite Award given by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir. Okay, now the journey from is countless. It starts with a tiny safety pin and it goes up to a ship, which almost 70,000 plus type of a. So this is how I just want to put a canvas in front of you where you can contribute. Okay, now not going in too much of a detail of this, I will how to identify the problems. I will come to 1 hour in this. I will put again half an hour for this, and then we will have the questions. Is it okay, Kotkar sir? Is it going in a right direction?
Yeah. Perfectly, sir. Perfectly.
Whether the participants are engaged, I couldn't able to judge from this place whether the active participation is not or something that I asked them to raise their hands. Could you again do that for me, one exercise? If you are engaged with this participation, just can you raise your hands, which is there at the tool at the Zoom window? Can you raise your hands so that I can? Okay, Virendra Kumarji, thank you. Okay, Dr. Maya, thank you. Okay, two again. Okay, this is something disappointing, but again, I will not get myself disappointed. Fine, I will move on.
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir.
Okay, the problems which are worth solving. Okay, some questions that you can pose. Go out, look around you, and identify a problem that you can spot. Explain the context as well. As I said, that it may be a context, it may be a situation, it may be an incident, it may be an instance, it may be a scenario, it may be a condition, it may be an accident, it may be a scene. Maybe you can have a trigger point just by observing the scene in a theater. That may happen. So in what context you observed this, and you need to note it down. It is a saying that every day we hit with 3 or 4 very prominent ideas, but we don't write them. Could able to develop a product out of it. At last, what we say that I have got this thought process some time back. This is just a pacifier which comes into picture, and that should not be there. And that's why I'm just saying you that once you observe the things, write it down, make the context essentially mentioned with that particular situation. What opportunities that you can pursue from the above problem, that also you need to. There must be a feasibility, viability, and one picture that I think what he does, what type of a customer he is, and what problems he is facing, how he is doing this job, and how later he could do this job. If you could able to visualize that, then these problems you can solve. First, identify whether that problem is worth solving or not. Okay, this is what I want to tell you. There should be whatever the problem that identified, how the golden mean you are going to identify. Here I am just rotating my pointer in the design innovation point, how this innovation happens with the design thinking. If you are having feasibility means technologically point of view, can you make it, and can you make it within the time span? It is not something that after 20 years or so you are going to develop that. Can you make it, and can you make it within the time frame? Okay, whether it is desirable, whether it is used as a desirability, whether there is a usage of your product. If the usage is there, then make it. Otherwise, there is no point in making such type of products. Whether it is viable, whether some sort of a commercial endeavor that is going to satisfy after that product making, that you need to make a point on. Okay, this is the well saying of Einstein. What he says, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes in thinking of the problem and 5 minutes for the solution. What we people do, including me and you, we only think for 5 minutes and rest 55 minutes, we are struggling with the solution side of it. So what he essentially underlines that you need to think on the problem from various angles for 55 minutes. And then you can put to the solution side. Solution just takes very little time. Okay, let us move. Okay, how to be innovative? Read something which no one else is reading. This is very good. Read something which is no one else is reading. Think something which no one else is thinking. And do something which no one else is doing. This is the way you can make yourself innovative. Okay, this is the but it's again open for you. How many ways might have observed that a sort of a locking procedure where you are having a locking arrangement, 10 solutions, 20 solutions, 30 solutions. I took this in my previous workshop, which I physically took, and almost 120 plus solutions were available for these types of arrangements, locking arrangements. It may be a snap fit. It may be a type of a tiffin box, which you usually carry for the tiffin purpose. The locking purpose, it's same on these lines. Okay, again, here, as I'm again emphasizing that you need to read the books, but still I'm making it from the online mode. But you need to go to the libraries and you need to find the books. Books gives you point of visualization. So you are the director of that innovation and you need to visualize the picture in a whole frame. It will be possible only through the books, because books individually gives you an experience of thinking in visualizing for a particular problem. Okay, these are the now design thinking. Okay, what design thinking is then linked with the improved future. The Herbert Simpson, he is one of the commenter on this design thinking. He says design thinking is transformation of existing condition into preferred ones. So existing condition may be anything, but if you want to improve it, if you want to get it changed into preferred one, then design thinking is applied. There are no judgments in design thinking. This eliminates the fear of failure. This encourages maximum participation. And that's what I tried throughout my session. I applied the design thinking again. I want you people, although you are participating from the online mode, I want you to get involved, get your participation in these types of processes. Wild ideas are appreciated, welcome. Since often these leads to the most creative ideas. And that's why wild ideas needs to be encouraged. Let us move on. What is the difference between traditional design approach and design thinking? Traditional design asks us what is the right answer. Design thinking poses the question that whether you have selected the problem which is worth solving. So it is pointing towards what is the right question. Whether you have selected the right problem, it gives emphasis on selection of the problem. The gravity of the problem must be so higher that it needs attention. Whether you have selected that, that is what the underline. It is more talkative, the traditional design. design thinking is more towards the listening skills. You need to listen, empathize from the person who goes through the pain points. Traditional design is having its strong points as a data. And here design thinking dwells on the stories. Traditional design is specially made and happened with the events. And on the contrary, design thinking is happening through the experiences. Through the experiences, we could able to generate the innovative products. It is talking about the facts and it is talking about the feelings of the end user. Okay. Now with this, I think most of you have in your day-to-day life, you might have heard about these 5 steps, EDIPT. So this is the process of design thinking, where the first step is empathize. Then comes define. Then comes ideate. Then comes prototype. And then comes test it. What is empathize? Empathize is something that you need to go into the shoes of the user or end user, and you need to observe from their point of view and make an underlying statement called as point of view statement. That is essentially with 15 words statement of defining the problem in its whole understandings. Whatever your understanding and inferences that you draw through observing the situations in details, going into the shoes of the customer, and then you write it down as a point of view. That is called as empathize. Very appropriately. That is 15-word statement, that is point of view statement. Then comes the ideation part, where there is no limit on whatever the ideas comes to your mind, you just put it. There are some of the tools to go for it, like there is a brainstorming, brain writing, ideas tracking, then comes the brain conflicts, and many such type of ideation tools which comes into picture. If you want to refer one online resource for this, I will just quote it. Miro tool, miro.com, is such a tool which gives you to prepare the mind maps as well. For your convenience, I will just write it and put it into the chat box as well. miro.com. Okay. So Miro is a thing where you can register and participate in these things. It is very nice to handle your mind maps, and ideation is all about your mind maps.
Hello, sir.
And you need to prototype it.
Sir?
You need to, yeah.
Sir, please, sorry to interrupt you, but we can't see that name in chat box for website. Yeah, it will be easy for participants.
I posted.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Someone had made a direct message to me, and everyone I need to make it. Okay.
Yes.
It's interesting is what the comment he made it to me.
Yes, yes.
MIRO is what I want to make it for all. MIRO, Miro.
Yes.
From where you can take the mind. Then a tool called as Scamper, SCAMPER. Scamper tool gives you many type of advantages. Scamper is S stands for substitute. Scamper, SCAMPER. I will write for you on this slide. SCAMPER. Scamper.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Scamper essentially starts with S, and this is S substitute. C stands for combine. A stands for adapt. M stands for modify. P stands for put in use. E stands for eliminate, and R stands for reuse. And this makes for if you recently I went to Lucknow. At IIM Lucknow, I got the trainings of design thinking. And at IIM Lucknow, We went just for sake of just taking some evening walk, and we want to take the summer season, and in that summer season we want to take some lassi. What we observed at that point, the lassi makers, they are using the washing machines to make the top end, not the front end, front loaded, not the front loaded. The top loaded washing machines are used to make the lassis. So motion that needs to be there, that is made through the washing machines. I observed these types of where they think of substituting some product with some intention in a different form. So Scamper stands for substitute. C stands for combining two more first. Okay. Suppose I'm using this mouse in my hand. So how it is designed? It is ergonomically designed. So as I'm emphasizing on this, so if you could observe that this part is being totally made, which supports my this end. Someone else, but what is the disadvantage? If I am a user of a left hand, so this is made for the right handers. Okay, so likewise, you need to think in a generalized form where the universal designs would be there. Fine. I will go to the next prototype phase where you need to prototype this. Unless and until you make it a tangible prototype, which may be ugly in its orientation and appearance, but you need to make the prototypes of it. Maybe a paper prototype, maybe a clay prototype, maybe a prototype from a 3D printed parts, but that has to be made. Unless something tangible comes in front of you, you can't able to judge it. And therefore, okay, software parts and embedded things will go in that, but you need to think in a visualization form that this would be something like this. And these are the support systems which are there, like paper prototypes you can make, some prototypes you can make out of clay, some prototypes you can make it out of bamboo, some prototypes you can make it out of cardboards and hardboards. Likewise, you can make and put your things, and there are some softwares which are used for prototyping as well. Fine. And the final part, after your prototyping, the end-to-end solution needs to be handed over to the customer, to the end user before deploying it. That is called a GTM strategy, go-to-market strategy. Before going to the market, end user, he will give you the test and feedbacks, and that feedbacks are very vital. What is a prototype? Prototype is nothing but it is a vehicle of inquiry where you ask many questions to your product. The user will ask many questions to your product, and if he gets some satisfactory answers for that, your product is good to go into the market. If not, then again you need to come back to the empathize stage. Therefore, it is called as design thinking is a iterative process. Iterative process. So you need to have the iterations. I think let us move. Fine. Okay, this I explained. Okay, what is empathy? Empathy is I am depicted from the pictures, because a picture is sufficient to replace 1,000 words, and that's why I have written many less, but I want to explain it through the pictures, the visual communication part. Something is there in this mind of this one, you need to understand so that you can bundle it with a very constructive and synchronized way. That is called as empathy. The problem that you need to observe, and you need to make a very simple definition of that problem. To our prose and where the literature, we are having plenty of them. It is said that Vivek Chudamani is one, Shankaracharya written one book. And most of these, what we are doing in design thinking today, these are there in the Vivek Chudamani. Shankaracharya had thought of it in long back. Again, Narsi Bhagat, he made this Narsi Mehta. Narsi Bhagat is what the pronunciation is made for him. He is Narsi Mehta. What this stanzas, and Lata Mangeshkar had sung this song in Kahiye, Peed Parai Jani Re. So you need to observe the pain points of the user, so you could able to empathize with that. Vaishnav Janto Tene Kahiye, Peed Parai Jani Re. पर दुखे उपकार करे तो मन अभिमान आने. Okay, one who knows a Vaishnav knows the pains of others, and that's how you do good to others, and without letting the pride in his mind that I, and go on making the innovations. Okay. Design, user-centric design. Who is at the center? The user is at the center. What problem he faces are at the periphery, and your inferences will bring the focus in the center. Okay, fine. Next stanza. What it goes for? It goes for the ideation part. Sakal lokama sahune vande ninda na karo keni. So you need to take all the wild thoughts. Of making the innovation in a right direction. And then naturally, if you do the innovations, then dhana dhana janani teri re. So instead of what is our contribution this year, essentially 70,000. How much the PCT patents that we filed? PCT is the international patents that are filed outskirts. That is less than 1,000. So if you see, and what is the count of Chinese? Chinese have placed, I think, I'm not confirmed about this, but 14 lakh plus patents they filed this year. This is where the difference is. So you need to be innovative at your own points, and therefore, dhana dhana teni, okay, naturally the commercials will come to you. If you are having a good innovative product, commercials will naturally come. Okay, fine. Okay, ideation is what part? Definition is there. Define it. I will come to that part a little later. But here is again one thing comes from the Samudra Manthan. At the last, there was Amrit. But meanwhile, there are different 14 types of Ratnas which comes out from the Samudra Manthan. What it means? The first idea which comes to your mind needs to be kept aside, because it may be someone else is thinking. You need to agitate. You need to think several times on that idea so that finally you get the Amrit. You need to think in many parts. You need to think on the problem itself so that you can think and divert it towards the solution side. Whatever the ideas comes very quickly in your minds needs to be neglected. You need to think in a... Okay, when it comes to the prototyping, here is one incidence that I want to put in front of you. Here is a prototype making. This is a hospital scenario, ENT specialist. He wants to do a surgery at some ear surgery. So here is the patient, which is here a slanted patient, and some sort of a operations are going on. If you see, there is a very complex harness of many wires which comes in and around, and this nurse is just struggling with which needs to take out which for a tool to hand over it to the surgeon. She is struggling in that. So this problem was handed over to the IDEO. IDEO is led by Tim Brown and David Kelly. So these are the two persons who are handling almost, I think, 35 years they are into the market. And IDEO made the Stanford thought process of design thinking to reach to the markets. And now we people are in line with that now. So they give it these problems to IDEO. One of the first thing we noticed was a tangle of wires and awkward hand positions that they observed. These are the awkward hand positions. So there will be a stress which is likely to come due to a mental fatigue will come. There will be a stress which will come from their usability. And that's how this problem was given to them. They worked on this. What prototype they made in front of the doctors? The doctors were making this type of a hand gestures. So most of the doctors, they are making these types of handover where I'm just rovering about. This is the hand gesture. And then one of the IDEO member, during the early brainstorming, we used office supplies to prototype an instrument for a neutral hand position. There is very less stress which goes in this type. How the prototype is made? It is made low cost. These are the stationary items which are available in our drawers, in our day-to-day drawers. If we take it out, we are having all these stuffs. They made the prototype of it. What is the underlying statement of a prototype? Fail early, fail fast, fail cheaper. Fail early, fail fast, fail cheaper. If at all you want to fail, then you need to judge that not after going for the final iteration. If at all you want to fail it, fail early. Then you need not to take time to fail fast. And although you are failing, then you should not be incurred too much of a cost for it. You should fail cheaper. Fail early, fail fast, fail cheaper, and fail often. This is again one addition that can be done. Fail early, fail fast, fail cheap, fail often. What do you mean by often? Several times you can do these iterations so that you need to come for the final iteration of your final product, which the masses. This is how the prototype is developed into the final product. So this is the final product that they developed. So the suction path is being defined, then whatever the surgical requirements are there. With the doctor's help, they could able to develop this type of a niche arrangement where neutral position of a hand matters. This is the neutral position of a hand. And this angle, what they developed, essentially able to make the surgery of ear. This is how the prototype helps to develop our idea into something tangible that we can sense, that we can feel, that we can touch. Okay, finally, what is the test part of it? After prototype, what we are going to get? The ugly prototype. Ugly in the sense it is not in the right way. The aesthetic is not good. If suppose the appeal of a customer needs to be there, it is not made in that way because it is ugly prototype. If you are knowing about the TRL levels, so I will just comment on TRL levels in a minute or two. What do you mean by TRL levels? That also I will put forth in front of you. Initial version of a prototype is very ugly. You need to hand over it to the end user. Is it fit for the audience, and whether the fitment of their requirement is there? Is it solving their purpose? Just you reiterate this. If it is there, then you can go for the final product. But if not, then always from this point of view, you need to come and divert it again back to the initial version of prototype. But for making initial version of a prototype, what you need to go for the empathy. If you did empathize in a right way, so naturally you have observed the a lot of things, and then you are developing in a right direction. Okay, so this is the figure which is usually taken care for the divergence and convergence of DT. DT means design thinking. DT essentially having two sections, two divergent sections and two convergent sections. 5 stages, as I briefed you. I will just write it here as well. So this is empathize. E stands for this. Then comes define. Then prototype. Then test. Sorry, empathize, define, ideate, and prototype and test. EDI. Here it comes. Here is empathy, empathize. Here is define. Here is ideate. Here is prototype, and here is test. Okay. So essentially, you need to put all these things in a right direction so that you can think of. First part of empathy, start with the divergence. Divergence means you can get many inferences from the user. So be broad at that point, where you take many suggestions, you observe many things, there are some techniques of empathy as well. So shadowing, one of the technique. Shadowing means what? Throughout the day, you are just there shadowing the user. What are the things, various things he do in his day-to-day life that you observe, and then comes the divergence of. And your points are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and many observations comes. So broaden your horizons. You can be very divergent in that way. Get as much as data as you can at the first stage, empathy. But once the data is with you, then you need to be convergent. Here, essentially, the convergence section starts. So the convergence means you need to now cut it down. You need to focus it towards definition of the problem. Once you observe the things in a broader way, then you need to make a point of view. Essentially, at this point, we are making a point of view statement. That essentially we declare at the define stage. That means we observe, empathized with the user, and we appropriately could able to define the problem in not more than 15 words. It is not something that a paragraph I am going to write or 2-3 pages report I am going to write. 1-page report I read. No, not like that. It is the definition of a problem in not more than 15 words. Appropriately replace many words which can be replaced by single word and make the appropriateness of your problem definition. Okay, once you are there with the point of view, then again you need to broaden your horizons. There should not be a restriction on brainstorming. There should not be a restriction on how you are taking the ideas with you. Many ideas you can take. And once these many ideas comes, again, you need to list them and stack them one over the other, And idea stacking you need. What is the criteria now we are going to apply to them? It is called as the desirability, viability, and feasibility. Desirability means at this point, suppose I want water to put to my mouth. But instead of that, someone else, my friend, comes and he offer me a type of a Coke. Your throat is just needs dried up. You can take this. That is called as desirable. I have not thought of it, but someone else is thought that he may be having this type of a expectations, and that expectations I am going to fulfill through my product is called as desirable. Usability. Okay. Then comes viability. Viability means what? Whether that product is going to be there into the market, whether I'm going to get some sort of input, commercial endeavors, whether they are going to satisfied or not. Viability. Feasibility, from the technical point of view, whether it can be manufactured. I will say something, solar products. We have, from my 20 years back, I did my inadvertently, I think some of the participants might have started the microphone. There is a disturbance. Okay, then after ideation, I want to judge it on the three variables, that whether it is desirable, whether it is viable, and whether it is feasible. Feasible means, can I make it? Okay, if I at all could able to make it, can I make it within the time frame? Google Glasses were well ahead of time, and they thought of, I think 7 years back, they launched it into the market. But they're totally ignorant to that why these Google Glasses are there. But now the invent of artificial intelligence, the AR, VR, and augmented reality, virtual reality, or mixed reality, they comes into picture. Now we felt that Google Glasses were needed. But 7 years back, they were wrongly interpreted and wrongly deployed into the market. That means ahead of time, after the time, it is not advisable. In time is what we are expecting it. And that's why you need to have that judgment that where I'm going to launch my product. That matters. The feasibility point comes in. Can I make it, and can I make it within the time frame? That is what the feasibility is. So keep in mind these three factors, that desirable, viable, and feasibility. So these are the three factors. After ideation, I need to apply these 3 points and converge again. Why to converge? Because I need 2 or 3 solutions. For that purpose, I can make the prototype of them. I'm not there to make the all solutions and all prototypes. I'm not there. I will make prototypes of 2 or 3 solutions only. That prototype I need to test with the end user. And this is very crucial part. The testing part is very crucial. So underlining is part. In the first phase, you need to understand about the problem. So this is almost in identifying the problem in its totality. And its creation. So this is creating something and then delivering it. User comes at the later stage, and you need to deliver it to the customer, and taking their feedback into consideration, you need to again reinvent your product. Okay, fine. My talk here, I will just take and pause for a break for getting some sort of a feedback from the users. Whether it is appropriate again, can
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
some sort of a sense to you after 1.5 hours. Is it making some sense to you? Just raise your hands or unmute yourself. Okay. Couldn't able to judge. Okay, fine. Right. Okay, we will move on. Okay. Vijay Lakshmi. Fine. Thank you, Vijay Lakshmi. One I got it. Fine. Someone is there who could be able to reply. Fine. Okay, now here I will take a break and I will just again move it to the video part of it, that I am very much delighted to show these videos because I am having plenty of them. Okay, now I am going to show you two videos, three videos in fact. So these three videos consecutively I will play and I will just explain you that what are the things. Again, the disclaimer, if audio is not there, then don't worry. I will just make this and we could be able to see that what are the things that are being put forward. Anybody of you can confirm now whether the video is visible or not.
Yes, sir.
Just one. Share.
Visible, sir.
Yeah, visible.
பார்த்திருக்க மாட்டீங்க. இதுதான் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப பழமையான ரயில்
So this
அடுக்குன்னு
is a
சொல்லுவாங்க.
Tamil Iyengar
ரயிலுக்கு என்ன
pilgrimage.
சம்பந்தம் அப்படின்னு நீங்க யோசிக்கலாம்.
Very brilliant
ராமேஸ்வரம்
design.
இதுக்கெல்லாம் போறதுக்கு
I think
சமையல்
able to
பண்றதுக்குனே
understand what the
பிரத்யேகமா
language she is
தயாரிக்கப்பட்ட ஒரு
speaking,
பாத்திரம்.
maybe Tamil.
இதுல
can
என்னென்ன
confirm.
இருக்கு அப்படின்னு சொல்லி உங்களுக்கு காமிக்க போறேன். பார்த்தாலே உங்களுக்கே ஆச்சரியமா இருக்கும். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு காய் பண்றதுக்குள்ள ரெண்டு அகலமான பாத்திரம்,
One by one,
சிப்பல் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க.
take
அடுத்து இல்ல வேற
from
ஏதாவது
that
ஒரு
utensil.
பாத்திரம், கடுகு
After one by one,
வச்சுக்கிறதுக்கு சின்ன சின்னதா
utensils.
பாத்திரங்கள் சைஸ் வாரியா கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. அதே மாதிரி தண்ணி மோந்துக்கிறதுக்கு சின்னதா ஒரு சொம்பு,
Innada or Tanni, these
அதுக்கடுத்து
three words I could able to
கூட்டு,
understand.
குழம்பு, ஒரு சின்ன கல்யாணமே செஞ்சிடலாம் இதை வச்சு. அதை விட ஒரு சின்ன பாத்திரம்.
It is called as Yatra Patram.
கடைசியா
That
ரொம்ப
time,
ஆச்சரியமா இருக்கும் உங்களுக்கு.
for a pilgrimage purpose, Charidham.
அவலை
For that purpose, the families
இதை
are
விட ஒரு ஃபேமிலியே இதை
along
வச்சு ரன்
with them.
பண்ணிடலாம். ஆனா அது full-ஆ
One
ஒரு
family
சின்ன அடுக்குலயே
of,
காம்பாக்டா ஒரு பெரிய இன்ஜினியரிங்
5 to 10
கூட யோசிக்க முடியாத அளவு
people
அந்த காலத்துல ரொம்ப அழகா
easily
பண்ணிருக்காங்க.
be
எதுவுமே
able to accommodate
டிஸ்லோகேட்டே ஆகாது.
this utensil.
நீங்க வச்சீங்கன்னா அது உங்களுக்கு திருப்பி வச்சு காமிக்கிறேன்.
So she is again making the assembly and disassembling this part. How
அது எல்லாமே தனித்தனியா
brilliantly
செட் பண்ணுங்க.
this has been crafted as a marvel of that time. You just appreciate the design of our forefathers who made these types of miracles, and that time these brass artifacts are being made with such a precision that it is able to accommodate almost 17 to 18 such type of utensils at one.
9
Okay, fine. I will just stop this video at this point, and I will just move on to the. This is something which comes from the south, as this is a video which depicts essentially the language also was from the south, and she gives a display about what the Yatra Patram is. On the same lines, at the northern parts, at the east northern parts of India, there is again something which happens like this. That also I will put in front of you. So you just think that throughout our width and breadth, how innovative Indians were. And after the British rule, the colonial rule, we couldn't able to redesign our crafted superiority. That where that is missing. I will just again. Yes, again, Kotkar sir, you can reconfirm whether the video is there with the voice or not.
Sure, sure. Yeah, it's visible, sir.
ও ব্যালান্স চাকি তখন কি রুটির ব্যবস্থা থাকতো?
He is actually
আচ্ছা লুচি, হ্যাঁ তাও ঠিক। আচ্ছা ফু দেওয়ার আছে, হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
বলছি এটা আবিষ্কার হলো কি করে?
আমার দাদু
We are talking
বানিয়েছিলেন
as a
একজন
added
বেনারস
thought.
থেকে।
So it is innovative.
হ্যাঁ বসিয়ে দেখে ডিজাইন করে এটা আমার এক আমাদের ভগ্নি বোধ বেঙ্গল এনামেলের মালিক তার সম্পর্ক ও নিয়ে গেল করতে পারলো না অনেকে নিয়ে গেছে তৈরি
হাতা
করতে
খুলতে সব স্ক্রু দিয়ে হ্যান্ডেল লাগানো হচ্ছে।
দেখো
এটা হলো ঘটি
Please just handing it over to her.
নালে তো ট্যাপটা
Just analyze
brush
that what
na?
weight it is
সব
going to be.
ব্রাশ ব্রাশটা কাঁসা
ব্রোঞ্জ। ও
চাকির বেলা।
আরে বাবা কি জিনিস।
Asya.
এটা দিয়ে এই যে এটার উপরে হ্যাঁ
চাকি বেলানো হয়ে যাবে এটা।
কোনদিন করেছেন করেননি তো
Again, on thin lines, it takes
না 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 ঠিক
See,
তখনকার কাজের লোকেরা
brought out from the magic box.
এইসব হিসেব করে দিয়েছে দুটো পার্টি দুটো
না এবার তুলে নাও।
আমরা বিজ্ঞান নিয়ে এত কথা বলি
উঠছে তো হ্যাঁ পাঠিয়ে দেবো।
একদম নিয়ে নেবো পাঁচটা হয়ে গেল এটা বৈজ্ঞানিক ভিত্তিতে তৈরি করা
এটার মধ্যে উনুন দেবে।
এটা হচ্ছে উনুন
এই যে উনুন।
ওইটা উনুন
হ্যাঁ ওটাই তো দেখা দেখুন চুলাটা দেখুন
এটা হলো কড়া
কড়া
এটা হলো
চাটু
চাটু
হ্যাঁ
আর আরেকটা
এই তো হচ্ছে
এটা হলো জলের কড়া
Just
বাহ।
water.
জলে কি জিনিসটা?
We are good at design. That is what we are. I want to underline here. And as we are good at that, so Indians could able to do that. In general way, we are calling it as Jugaad. But Jugaad is something which is the first trace of your innovative thought process. So we need not to ignore the Jugaad, but on the same lines, we have to adapt that Jugaad so that the Jugaad can be reached to the masses. Now I will come to end of my talk and I will not bore you too much and segment of my part. Here is again my younger daughter. She usually look for these types of cartoons. You will say that now this should not happen. That last time he is just putting the cartoons in front of us, and it is the likewise maybe that impression may be having. I just here to give you how innovations can be made. That is what my point. And with a design thinking approach, I designed this session. And at the end, I just want you to put some sort of observations. And I appreciate your comments on this video. Final, and here it goes. The Urmi song is what it is called. It comes along with the its sound, then it's okay. Yes, I'll share. Kautkar sir.
Yes, sir.
Whether it is audible now?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay. I will speak on this bigger subject.
Într-o seară cu Costi am udat cu mâna noastră florile de pe fereastră. Mat în sticlă i-am turnat și lui pisică. Nu știu floarea ce-o se simte, dar pisica da cântă. Și noi cântăm cu dânsea hopa, dunia, dunia, hopa. Toată lumea toată-i încântată de pisica talentată. Hopa, hai că-i bună, hopa, nu e glumă, toți îl cadă pe Costică să le mai aduc o sticlă. Să le mai aduc o sticlă. Toți îl cadă pe Costică să le mai aduc. ori să nu tacă, le-am turnat și lor o leacă. Numai razele din curte mute au fost și-au rămas mute. Nu știu o să fie mâine, dar acum la toți e bine. Cum se vede, măi Costică, sigur n-a fost apă în sticlă. Dar ce-o fi fost acolo? Hopa, țunia, țunia, hopa, toată lumea toată-i încântată de sticluța fermecată. Hopa, hai că-i bună, hopa, nu e glumă, până dimineață toată lumea cântă numai țunia, țunia. Cântă numai țunia, țunia. Până dimineață toată lumea cântă numai ei, hopa, țunia, țunia, hopa, toată lumea, toată lumea dentată. Hopa, hai că-i bună, hopa, nu e glumă, toți îl cată pe Costică să le mai aduc o sticlă. Hopa, țunia, țunia, hopa, toată lumea, toată.
Okay, once apart, what are your observations? I want from some sort of inferences on this line. What do you observe? Why might have shown this type of a video? Yeah, Pankaj sir.
What I observe is that if you want to achieve something, you need to do a lot of efforts. You might get unsuccessful in that particular thing. But if you are Pankaj sir, your voice is not audible. Can you increase your voice, please? Just a second, sir. Pankaj sir. Hello. Is I audible, sir?
A somewhat feeble voice we could be able to hear.
So just a second. I will back. I will change the network and I will back.
Someone else can go in between if someone else could want to contribute.
Pankaj sir, you can send a message in chat box also. It will be more flexible, I think. Someone else, please.
Any inferences that you drawn through this observation? Okay, fine. Attempt the problems. This is what the underlying statement. There are the problems, but there are solutions. So you need to try this at the final solutions, and that final solution is not the final one. So I am Lucknow. In design thinking, whatever the solutions that you are proposing, these are temporary solutions. No solution is forever. And that's true. Means TV, if suppose we take the televisions in front of us, how the TVs started from the CRT tubes, and then how bulky they were, how they changed, and now they are lighter like paper. So every such solution which comes in picture are temporary in that way. But that temporary is longer than you are making the design which is timeless. And timeless designs are expected from the engineering fraternity. And as we people are representing the fraternity of engineering in academia, so we should start working on these fronts so that we could able to develop some of the niche products out of it. Okay, thank you. I think questions comes, then I'm open to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got one comment also, sir, from in a chat box. Really, it's I think summarized very well. Yeah. Excellent way.
Excellent way of presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vijay Lakshmi.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Can we go for a question and answer, sir? Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, quite good. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's a request to all participants to take a part in a question and answer. If you have any doubt, please be free to ask. I think this session was really fantastic, and I think it will initiate to ask questions. So
Yeah, just I am here to make a trigger point with you that there are possibilities. There are endless possibilities, and this is the world of possibilities that you want to explore, and just explore.
yeah, please, audience, be free to ask questions. If you have a problem with the audio, then you can send a chat box message also.
Yeah, I am open. I am just observing the chat box also.
Yes, sir. Yes.
If I could relate to something, trigger the end result of this session, that design thinking for innovation is what the theme we took for this session. So can you tell something? Dr. Maya, can you do one thing? Choose those two, ask them that what are our campus problems. I did it, and our management and principal sir was so supportive in that way that we asked the students. I took this FDP in my own campus, that the design thinking, and we asked the faculty members to observe our campuses so that we could able to correct and rectify some of the things which are not in place, and many suggestions comes, and we could able to improve in that way. So start the inquisitiveness with the students, ask them to observe the campus, and they will come with some of the suggestions. They will have some sort of observations, and this tool is very engaging one. I usually give it to the students that this tool is very engaging, and with this tool they could able to observe the things. They can take the pictures of the problems and they can pose it to us. Is there any particular parameter or a method that you develop that will decide applicability of design, so it will be able to enter in a market? Only 6% able to success into the market. That's correct. So the gravity of a problem needs to be identified. We have developed one product, and which is now going to the market, called as Asan, which is meant to relieve the persons who are into the sedimentary postures. Like I'm sitting on the chair, and for several hours together, I need to sit on the chair. So it will relieve me from the back pain and that particular coccyx type of seats, which are already there in the market. What we did, innovation in that, pressure cells or the pressure sensors, they will take the load from your buttocks, and it will observe that your left and right buttocks are mounted secure. If you lean towards this side, suppose I'm just leaning towards my left, then I'm leaning towards my right, that difference in the equilibrium position will be observed, and it will be sent as a signal to the microcontroller, and microcontroller will, and then given to the microprocessor as well. Such type of a readings are being taken, and they are taken throughout the day and compiled in a app, which is cloud-based app, so that it will give you inference that these many hours you have violated the standard practice of your posture. That is what we have developed, and now it is in a phase to market. We have applied for the funds of Yukti as well, and it is under process of Kapila. That you can think of. Any other questions?
Yeah, any another questions?
Can you suggest some tips for teaching purposes? Yeah, I observed one. Okay, here is what I was observing simultaneously. One thing I will just put it. If allowed. Just give me a moment. If I could able to capture one image is there, one simple jugaad, but which is very engaging. And recently I sent it to my friend. Send it to. Just wait for a minute or two. I will just download that, and it will be very simple. Today itself, my friend had sent it to me, and very engaging one. If you I could share my screen again. If you see, when we enter into the classrooms, classrooms are most of the times. And as a teacher, we couldn't able to identify which fan controls which fan is controlled by which switch. Maybe a general solution for that. Can you observe?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's
Sir.
visible.
Here is a rectangular hall, and with that rectangular hall, these many switches are there. Okay, this is the. If you could see, I'm just enlarging it. Here is my pointer. You see that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Kotkar, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible. Yes, sir.
Here is how the position of which fan is controlled by which switch is very appropriately communication design wise, which is visual design wise said very appropriate. I appreciate these types of designs, and very small. It is not something which we are going to make the difference, but a small contribution will help. This is very small thought process that I want to put, and I'm also a very small entity that I am contributing. As I said, that I'm there just making my contributions. At your places, you can do that at your workplaces. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I think, shall we conclude here?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
over to you, sir.
Yeah, once again, just last appeal I will do to our participants. Please, if you have any question, it's a last moment to ask for that, and be free to ask. We are going to close this session right now. So this is last appeal to everyone. All right. I think we given sufficient time for the question and answer. Okay, sir. So can we proceed further, sir? As a
Yes.
closing. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sure. Yeah. As a formal closing, really, it was really a fantastic session, sir. And I hope this will be, what can you say, helpful for that all participants. And so many things you discussed, and you even shown with the help of our videos also, as you discussed about that Lucknow experience that you said about that washing machine. The thing that how we can see that things that matters a lot, as you said.
Yes.
And this is a really fantastic saying by you. And in upcoming time, this kind of tips that researcher can implement in their own research area or a domain. And I hope it's really a fantastic, what we can say, session once again. Just a small question I have, sir, from my side, if you permit me, can I ask?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just small question. What I feel that is how do we ensure that promising new ideas are not prematurely shot down? Means how we can be sure
Okay.
about that? Yes, sir.
There is a prior art search. Means in patent domain, if you go to the WIPO, that is World Intellectual Property Organization, their patent scope type of a website, from where there are almost 14,000 different classifications of the problems.
Okay.
14,000 different classifications and categorizations.
Yes. Yes.
From them, we could able to judge whether shall we proceed with this as a physical something that we are going to make it in the future. That prior art that we can search, I will put it into the Dropbox where it would be open for all. If you want anything on that, I am there to support you.
Sure, sir.
Here is that. It is one website which is available, and you can see that your idea, whatever comes to your mind, whether someone else had already done something contribution on that, you can see always on that.
Okay, okay, sir. Yeah, really, once again, thank you, sir. And it was really informative session actually. And once again, I'm from a family of a Sweri College of Engineering. Once again, I would like to say thank you to everyone. First of all, to you, sir, Vaibhav sir, for taking a participation and to making us enlighten. And once again, thank you from whole Department of Mechanical Engineering. And once again, I would like to thank you to all participants, those joined and taken active participation, particularly. So many participants, sir, they taken active participation. In a previous session, we didn't saw that kind of active participation, but for your session, they were taking really active participation. And once again, thank you to everyone. And now I can say this session is closed right now. And we will meet for a second session that will be at 2 o'clock. Please. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Have a great day, sir. Have a great day.